Hello, my name is Charles Frazier and welcome to my garden. We are glad to be back with you. This is the end of July. We've got a wonderful July evening that we are taping this show for today. We're going to talk again more about flowers. You know, I talk about vegetables most of the time, but we're going to talk about our flowers and how that they have done throughout the summer so far. Now, there is still a lot of the season to enjoy our flowers, but we wanted to stop and give you an update on some things that are doing well, some things that are not doing well. Like for instance, last year I tried to grow asters. Well, the asters were a disaster. Yes, indeed. I had several rows of them and they all died. They all died. Well, guess what? I didn't plant any asters this year because I wanted to venture and do what I did last year that did well and kind of work on that. But we're just going to kind of talk about a few things because I believe our last gardening video, we were here on the porch and we were talking about putting some pots together and various things here. Now, we're going to talk about these that are on my right and on my left. This one right here, as you see in this basket here, we have a fern that is growing and we have some other flowers, and then we have some other growth that is here. And just, I'll just like planting 2 or 3 different things, in a pot and watching it grow, see how well it does. We've had some good progress with some of these, but then also we've had some others. Now the ferns have done well. Now just to kind of give you an idea of where my house is, my house faces the east. The front door faces the east. So early in the morning, we have morning sun. And this particular porch will have morning sun until about noon. Now, for some flowers that does okay because rest of the afternoon, and you take like in the evening right now, we are in the complete shade, which general rule of thumb, most flowers like a little bit of shade, a little bit of that of partial shade. Well, in this, even though this is a fern, and fern can take some sunlight, but not a whole lot. In my experience, those of you that have had ferns for over the years, maybe you could share some techniques with me, but they kind of like partial sun and they like the shade a little bit better. There is morning sun here, but because we have after 12 o'clock, we have shade, it is doing okay. And so I like the progress. I love the blooms. I like some of the vines that we have growing here, just some other things as well. We have another one that is on down. The porch here, you'll see a vine that is growing on it, got a succulent that is growing there with that of that fern. So, but these two, I have been very, very thankful for the progress that they have made. But then also over here to my right, which would be to your left, we have these large pots that have been on the porch here. And we have, the sweet potato vine. As you can tell, it is doing wonderful, wonderful. And then also it's had these beautiful purple blooms on it this year that I have just thoroughly enjoyed these purple blooms. But then also we have a begonia in the back. I have a geranium in the back. And then also we had a dahlia. Well, guess what? The dahlia didn't make it. Don't know why. I thought we were doing well, but the dahlia did not survive. But these others, they have done well. And so next year, guess what? I will not put dahlias on this front porch, okay? And so we just wanted to kind of share some of these things as we are looking at containers for this year. All right, also talking about this one here, this is an invasive plant that I put in this pot. Now the dahlias, guess what? The dahlias died as well. And then this one took over the entire pot. They took over the entire pot. Well, I will not use this next year in this pot, okay? All right, but I am kind of glad that it has taken over because at least it's not bare and it is not empty. But Miss Vicki asked me the other day, she says, what are you going to do here? I says, I don't know, what would you like? She said, well, as we get a little bit closer into August and September, I would like a mum to start growing in here. So probably in the next week or two, I'm gonna go get a mum, start growing it, and so having it ready for the fall season for fall colors. I'll go ahead and I'll leave this succulent in here and let it grow, but just be able to put the mum on top. But like I say, some plants, they're too invasive, and you just learn that. Also, something else we're learning, of course, one of my favorite flowers is that of the petunia, but as you well know, whenever the summer comes on and it heats up, it is very, very hard to keep petunias. Well, I thought I'd give it a try here on the front porch. Well, the morning sun has cooked this petunia because if a petunia ever needs water, you can tell it. The problem is it's not very forgiving if it needs water, and it usually looks like this. Now, what we can do to this, like I said, it doesn't look very, very nice right now. We can trim this back. I mean, do a very, very good trim on this, and we can see how things can develop back out. Give it again. That can happen. We've seen that. I've seen Mariana do this. Cut way back, back to the pot, and like cut out all this that is hanging off the sides, and it will come back. So just kind of give you an idea if you're wanting to work with something, even though it doesn't look very, very pretty right now. But as we are moving into August, of course, August we'll have warm temperatures, but then in September we start having a break. We can have this come back out flowering again and look better than it does right now. A new addition to the Frazier landscape this year, since COVID, we've been doing a lot of landscaping around the house, as we mentioned in an earlier show. But this hydrangea tree was one of the picks that I wanted to be sure in the landscape. And now it is in full bloom and it looks absolutely outstanding. We have been picking a few of the blooms and putting in some of our floral arrangements that are inside the house, and we have just been very, very pleased with this hydrangea tree. Now, you may have a hydrangea bush, but this is a hydrangea tree, and so I have it staked there, and it is growing, doing well. Now, as you can see, it has grown very well, and we'll probably need to be doing some trimming on it to make sure that it is good for the next growing season. But right now, we are picking a few of these blooms, and we are enjoying the beautiful hydrangea tree. I also wanted to show you this petunia. You know, we were on my front porch on the east side of the house. Well, we are on the north side of the house where there's a lot of indirect sunlight. You know, very, very few direct sunlight. And I have this petunia growing out of the same pot here on the north side of the house. And looking at it, you can see that it is doing far much better than the one growing on the east side. So just kind of a little bit of thought as you place your plants around your house. For the petunias at this particular point in time, they are excelling better on the north side of the house. Back around May 8th and May 9th, we had a serious frost, almost a freeze here. And I have had, I don't know how many questions people have asked in regards to their crepe myrtles. Well, this is a white crepe myrtle. It's a very, very hardy crepe myrtle. We've had this in a lot of our shows. What you're seeing here is all new growth from the bottom. The existing wood that was there does not have anything on that at all. So from what I can gather of the crepe myrtles that I have here and the ones at church there, the freeze took a lot of them out. And but we have this new growth, and this new growth is going to make up for it. But after this winter, whenever this dies back and things, I will go in and I will take out the dead wood that is there. So just kind of want to share that with you. Had never ever had that happen before with a crepe myrtle. Usually they're you know, pretty, they can withstand a lot of things, but that, I guess maybe that near freezing temperatures on May the 8th and May the 9th pretty well did a number on them for this growing season. All right, we're in the back side of the house here, but I wanted to show you my begonias. One of the favorite plants that I like raising every year is that of begonias. And I even encourage for those of you that maybe you say, I don't have a green thumb in growing flowers. Well, begonias are one of the most forgiving of flowers. And maybe if you forget to water them, you know, you can come back and water them. And you know that if you skip a day, or sometimes if you skip 2 days, you know, you're not going to hurt this plant too much. It is pretty forgiving. It's not like the petunias. You know, 2 days without water on a petunia and you're done. Right now, I'm watering those petunias that you saw. They get water at least once a day. Sometimes they get water twice a day, all right? Begonias, it's nice for them to have a drink once a day, but if you skip a day every now and then, it's not going to bother them. But I'm going to show you this begonia here. Of course, angel wing, dragon wing begonias, these are the kinds that I raise. And This one right here is on the south side of the house, up against the house, full sun all day long. And notice, it is showing the effects of the sun. We have leaves that are small. We have leaves that have fired up on the edges there because of the heat, and it's just too much sun on this part. And I did this for a reason. I wanted to see how much sun that they could take, and so it's kind of been a little bit of a demonstration trial on this begonia. So this is south side of the house is not a good place for this begonia. Now I have one about 40 feet away from this one that we have shown, and this is on the porch of my outside garage. Now it doesn't get too much sun. Let's say it gets sun from 9:30 until 12 o'clock until noon. All right, that is the direct sunlight that it gets. Do you see the difference between the two? Do you see the difference between these two here? Just 40 feet away, but this one only has direct sunlight from 9:30 until noon. All right, now, do I water this one every day? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I can tell if I have not watered it enough from the day prior to, these leaves will be curled up and they'll kind of look like those leaves over there. So I have to give a generous amount of water. All right, so we've got full sun. We've got a little bit of sun from 9:30 in the morning until noon. And then also I want to show you one here that is not in direct sunlight at all. This is in the shade all the time. Do you see the difference? Do you see what begonias respond to the best? Shade. So if you're growing these, what side of the house your porch is on, or maybe what side your landscape is on, is very, very important, because you want to have some plants that look nice and things. And of course here, since this is in indirect sun, I think personally, if we were having a fair this year, this would be my blue ribbon winner that I would be placing in the A&I Fair at Marshall County. Of course, as we well know, because of COVID and things, we're not going to be able to have a fair this year, and that is a letdown, because I enjoy participating and seeing what others are doing, not only in vegetables, but also in flowers. But as we look at this, like I say, no sun at all. This one here just has direct sunlight from 9:30 until noon, and then this one right here has sunlight all day long. And so we just wanted to do that as a demonstration for you this year. All right, I'm standing here and I've brought the tractor in and mowed this down. I grew some sweet corn here, and I've harvested that sweet corn, and wanted to get ready because it was tall and there was weeds in here and everything else. But what I'm going to do, as I have chopped this down, I will start tilling this and getting things ready for August. As you will know, I grow a lot of vegetables in August. I grow my best green beans in the month of August. So I will be changing this, and we'll be growing these I'll probably be growing a lot of green beans here for the fall. Roma, that's whenever I like to plant green beans and things. And so just kind of let you know that gardening just don't stop with one season. Really, we have an early season and we have a late season. And so right now, we're about to get into the middle of that late season. And so I'm going to be growing some squash and cucumbers and green beans and a few other things there for this growing season. But with what we have going on with our food supply and things, I've been trying to raise a few extra vegetables, trying to can a few extra vegetables as we get into the fall. Well, welcome to my flower garden. All right, I love growing vegetables, and last year we had the Mariana's wedding, and she wanted to grow her own flowers, and so last year I grew around 40 rows of different kinds of flowers. that was a whole new experience. I did not know what to think. I didn't know what it would be, but it was a very great experience. And while now I don't have 40 rows this year, but I do have several rows, and it just makes the landscape look so pretty. Now I have three different kinds of flowers. Now there are different varieties of these flowers that are here. Like on this front row, this is a special variety of zinnias, and they're very beautiful in bouquets and things, and that's just a distinct variety of zinnias that we grow. Also, this variety here, I just love this color of this zinnia here. This beautiful color here. I did not grow these last year, because whenever I ordered the seed, they were back ordered, so they came in late, so I didn't plant them. So I planted them for this year, and they came in, and the family's been saying, what are those? What are those? I said, well, those were zinnia seeds that we ordered last year that did not come in, but man, they are beautiful, just beautiful colors. And so we have part of a row that is here. Also, that's zinnias, and then also in this area right in here, Gomphrena. These are Gomphrena, and they are doing very well. Beautiful colors. This year I've got a lot of different colors of Gomphrena, and they're just growing. They're very invasive as well. They like to bush out and look good, and so they're looking good. But then also the Celosia. I don't know. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 6 different varieties of Celosia, and this is the Pampas Bloom that we grow each year. And I have yellow, and I have gold, and I have red, and I have scarlet, and these just grow quite well, and just love them. We can come out here and cut our flowers and set them on the dining room table and set them in the sunroom and things. And these, like I said, there's so many varieties. I don't know how many varieties of zinnias that they are. Now, usually we'll go and we'll get a little seed packet, and that is one kind of zinnia. Probably these down here on the end, if you were to plant a seed pack, these colors here would be some of the ones that you would get in that seed pack. Well, that's good. I mean, I love these colors here. We'll show some more of these colors a little bit later on, but you might want to venture out and get into your seed catalogs and see about these different colors. I would say, I'm not exaggerating, there's probably like nearly 40 different varieties of zinnias that you could grow in your garden, and they are just absolutely beautiful. They're just absolutely stunning, and I just love going in and taking them in and putting them in vases and things. We accent with the Celosia. That they are great accents with the zinnias, putting them in a vase that is together. This color here grows quite well. This color here, this is another one. Was a back-ordered seed from last year that I didn't get in time, and so I have just planted it for this year. So this certain variety of Celosia, this is the first time for it. But then also, I love the red. I love the scarlet that is there, and that can accent, a bouquet quite beautifully. And so we have all of these, and these are growing, and we just enjoy coming out here and weeding them and just having a great time. And also there's great conversation piece in the neighborhood as well. All right, now I was going to talk with you because like I said, there are several varieties of Celosia that in here. Now, I have been referenced ones like these right here. This is Celosia, Pampas Bloom. But then also, this is Celosia as well. Now, you say, well, I thought that was Cox's comb. Well, we've called it rooster comb, we've called it Cox's comb, but guess what? It is in the Celosia family. And so we have these that are growing as well. And so there's just so many different varieties of these flowers. So, just don't settle on one variety. Grow more than one variety, just like I do in the garden. I like growing more than one kind of tomato because I just like to see what it looks like and how that they produce. Well, some may ask, how did you do this? How did you do this? Well, I started the seeds in seed trays. I like doing it that way. You know, just your basic transplanting seeds. You know, or if you put them in a container, plant the seeds in there, and then they start sprouting. You know, we've done a gardening video on that, and then transplant them into a cell pack and let them grow. Now that's how that I have done this. Now that's a lot more meticulous. And I like to say that my ways are usually the hardest ways, no matter whether it's gardening, canning, growing flowers. Usually I've got the hardest way of doing things, but I found it to be most productive. Now, I have these plants here, believe it or not, are about 6 inches apart. And so that's one every 6 inches or one every 8 inches, and you can see how they fill in. Now, you can waste a lot of seed if you were to take that seed packet that you get at your seed supplier and try to plant a row of them. And you'll go through a lot of hundreds and hundreds of seeds real quick. But if you do it the other method, of course, you know, I do have a small 6x8 greenhouse that all that you see here came out of that 6x8 greenhouse that started those seeds and growing those seeds and then transplanting those. So just kind of wanted to give you an idea of the process that we have used here. We put them in a row, place them anywhere from 6 to 10 inches apart, and then as they grow, they just kind of fill in. All right, we're going to talk about these zinnias here, and I've got a couple of different varieties that are mixed in. Some of the, I think the Queen's zinnias, they are mixed in here that we were up here, but this is just 2 small rows that I put out, just kind of separating things out. But then also you see Mr. Turkey is in my gardening space. Well, Mr. Turkey has been very helpful this year because where I was showing where I had that sweet corn, I had some problems with some wild geese coming in, and they loved my seed corn. They loved my sweet corn seed, and they ate several seeds of my sweet corn. Well, my neighbor was very generous to let me borrow his turkey. And this turkey has been very helpful of keeping the geese out of the garden. So it's kind of amazing there. I don't know if maybe turkeys are territorial, and Canadian geese don't like being around territorial birds such as a turkey there, but it was definitely this year made a huge difference in the sweet corn patch of keeping the Canadian geese out of the sweet corn. But then also, like I say, I have some different zinnias. These are what I call seed pack zinnias. As you would go to your store and just say, I want a pack of zinnias, you see some of those that are there. There are some cactus zinnias that are in here, and whenever you look at them, for some they are not the prettiest, but they do have a distinct look. And the cactus zinnia, I have a cactus zinnia here, but whenever it comes to these seeds here of the regular zinnias were some that I had saved. I went to a flower garden in Lexington, Kentucky. This young girl was doing a mission trip, and you would go in and you would cut flowers and help her go on her mission trip. Her mother told me, she says, why don't you get some of that seed from the ones that have already died? And that's what I did. And what you see here, many of these behind me come from Lexington, Kentucky, saved the seed, planted the seed, they sprouted, put them in seed packs, and we have these that we're enjoying this year. But so this is something that anybody can do, and I encourage you to do that. I went ahead and pulled one of these so that you can see here. Now this is a zinnia that has bloomed and all the petals are now gone, but all these things that you see are seeds. I mean, there are dozens and dozens and dozens of seeds on this plant, so it doesn't take very many that you could save these seeds and put them out. So just it doesn't take very much at all. I didn't get around to planting everything that I wanted. You would think that I would have everything that I needed, especially this year since I have 6 gardens going on that I'm growing vegetables in. But there's one thing that I did not get to plant like I wanted to, and that was sunflowers. Now last year I had several kinds of sunflowers growing. Well, in this particular area here, we had some sunflowers to come up volunteer. That means that they were in the soil, and whenever springtime coming, they started sprouting. I recognized the leaf. knew immediately that that was going to be a sunflower, and so we just let it grow. But here is the thing. I did not grow this variety last year, all right? I don't know if a bird dropped this seed or where this seed came from, because all of the sunflowers that I had last year were single stalk sunflowers and only one. Well, as you see here, this has multiple sunflowers growing on it. I am tickled to death for this plant. I first thought it was going to be one of those mammoth, huge, great big sunflowers because it was growing straight up. But as you will see, also I got Mr. Bumblebee in here, and I don't want to make him angry, so he's just trying to get supper, I guess, for this evening. But it has these multiple blooms, and so I've been coming out here, and my wife, Miss Vicki, she's been coming out here and taking several of these blooms, and guess what? We take a bloom off, it produces another sunflower bloom. But I'm very, very excited. Definitely, I will be trying to save some seed of this sunflower to grow for that of next year. But it's just simply beautiful. As we close our show today, I want to show with you our last pot here. Now this one is starting to show a little bit of summer being spent, but this is my favorite, the white verbena. The white verbena I have enjoyed this year. This is one plant. This is one plant here of this white verbena. And now there has been evenings I've come in here and it didn't look too great. It looked like it was wilted, but I'd water it and it would come back and it would do okay. Of course, here's another begonia, as you see here, and it has not done bad. Now, this is on the west side of the house, so it gets a lot of afternoon and evening sun. But because of the location that it's in, it is doing quite well. But definitely one on the list for next year is that of the white verbena. Well, that is our show for today. We hope that you have enjoyed our flowers and maybe learning some of those flower tips that we have learned by experience this year. Also, we want to give a shout out to somebody that watches our program. We want to give a shout out to David and Debbie Howard over around Vaughn's Chapel over in the Possum Trot area. And we are so glad for you and sharing that you watch our show, and we wanted to give a shout out to you today. Well, we do have some time left in the gardening season, so we'll be back here in a few days and we'll show you what's going on in the garden. Take care and God bless.